Um, Karen Bonifilio, Inner Realms, Outer Journeys. We have a real treat today. I have Daniel Monroe here today. You want to say hi, Daniel?
Hi, Karen. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited about having you. I just found out, I thought he was up in Washington, and Daniel's in my area. He's just across the river in Portland from me. So that's even more exciting to find out that he's close by. So let me tell you about Daniel. He is a nationally known evidential psychic medium, spiritual teacher, and transformational guide who began publicly doing his sacred work since the age of 17. With a natural born connection to the spirit world, Daniel has spent over a decade helping people find healing, clarity, and validation from the other side. So that kind of lets me know how old you are. I figured that out. His journey began young, but his impact has been profound. Through live audience readings, private sessions, and sold out workshops, Daniel has become known for his incredibly accurate, emotionally moving, and soul affirming messages from spirit. Trained and mentored by icons like Lisa Williams and James von Praagh, he carries forward a legacy of love, truth, and spiritual connection. You know what? He's won an award too. He got his first ever psychic medium to win the Best of Clark County and is the founder of the Daniel Monroe Developmental Academy, where he mentors students in unlocking their own gifts with integrity, confidence, and heart. We need to talk about that. So don't
Yeah.
forget about we need to talk about your academy. Whether he's on stage, on screen, or one-on-one sessions, Daniel's purpose is clear: to remind you that you're never alone, that spirit is real, and that healing is always possible. And I got to tell you, that was really nicely written.
You.
It really was. As a teacher, I really appreciate that. So, Daniel, just kind of tell us about yourself and how your spiritual journey started. And I find it actually kind of fascinating your humble beginnings, too, if you want to mention that at all.
Yeah. So my journey was quite the roller coaster ride. I always make the joke like spirit says that your soul knew what it signed up for. And I always make the joke like I wish it left me a sticky note like, hey, things are going to be okay. You're going to get through it. Because I was a closeted gay boy and closeted psychic medium because I grew up in a very religious home. Like my dad is straight from Mexico. My mom was a Sunday school teacher.
Oh,
So being, the macho man, like I traded in my Romeos, my muck boots for high heels. So, and of course the wall, if you will. So it truly, I'm the youngest of seven. We're all like half related. And I was always the emotional kid. And it wasn't until middle school I would start randomly passing out. And my mom took me to doctors. I had to go to a neuro specialist, and then I had to have a heart monitor on me, and we got the
wow.
results and everything. And the neuro specialist was like, "Yeah, we see it's happening, but we don't know why. So it's probably just anxiety." And something inside of me was like, "I'm not accepting that. Like that doesn't feel right." So I was actually moving out because again, grew up on a farm. Farm life was not for me. Um, was it. But unfortunately, I also was abused growing up, and so hence why like all of us like left home at a young age and things like that. And I was packing up my room at 17 years old, and I'm not joking.
Wow.
I love the Long Island Medium. However, I did not know when you read Long Island Medium, I honest to God thought it was like the Long Island iced tea. So I thought it was like Jersey Shore. I'm not
Oh,
joking.
no.
So I never watched it. I never wanted to watch it because I never got into Jersey Shore and things like that. But
Yeah.
because I was packing up my room to move out, I was like, well, I'll just throw on some garbage Jersey Shore type thing. I'll turn on Long Island Media. It was, I'm she's like a Caputo and blah, blah, blah. And I talk to dead people. And I was like, what? And I just remember sitting down on my bed going like, what? And I was watching episode after episode. And before all that, we grew up watching Ghost Whisperer. Like my mom doesn't like
Oh,
mediumship. Isn't that amazing? My mom
Yeah.
doesn't like mediumship. She doesn't like the work that I do. However, we loved, like, we watched it together.
Oh, that's
And
good.
it wasn't until later on in life that I found out, James in Praagh, had a huge part in it and was a producer on it. And it's based off of a medium's experience. And so,
Yes.
anywho, when Teresa Caputo said she went to a spiritual healer, something inside of me was like, you have to Google that. You have to, like, something was like, look it up.
Oh.
And so I was like, huh, okay. So I did. And I found one in the city that I was moving to. Because, again, I grew up in the woods. So the nearest city was called Battleground. And that's where the spiritual healer was. And so I moved into Battleground. And it was like 10 days after moving out when my appointment was. And I walked in talking about randomly passing out. And she's like, oh, you're an empath. And I was like, oh, cool. And I meditated for the first time because, again, the religion that we grew up in, it was very, meditation was worshiping the devil and, being gay is not of God and blah, blah, blah. So I meditated for the first time and I started seeing a butterfly flutter in my mind's eye. And I was like, this is crazy. And I opened up my eyes and there was this big butterfly in this window because I was sitting up against the wall like this. And there was a window to the left and there was that big butterfly that I saw in my mind right in the window. And I was like, this is crazy. Like, I never had synchronicity ever happen in my life that I didn't notice. And then I started talking about my grandfather who passed the night I was born because that things that he said to my mom, like, be careful of the baby and something about a moon, had always stuck with me. And so I started asking this lady, this healer, about what's the significance with the moon? Is there anything cool with that? And as soon as I asked that, I could feel somebody step in behind me. And mind you, I'm up against a wall. And she could tell I kind of got startled.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, what just happened? And I was like, I just feel like someone's standing behind me. And she was like, well, close your eyes and ask them who it is. And I did. And it was my grandfather. And he started apologizing for things that happened between my dad and I. And he was like, don't blame your dad. Blame me. I didn't teach him how to be a proper father. And
Oh.
I'm sobbing in
Oh
front of
my
this.
gosh.
Yeah, it was, yeah. And I remember crying. And I'm just telling her what he's having me feel and see. And again, I'm sobbing. Again, I'm a mouthy 17-year-old at the time. I don't do emotions in front of people, so I'm just trying to get through it so quickly, and I'm sobbing like a baby. And I opened my eyes, and she goes, "Oh my God, you're a medium." And I was like, I'm a large, but thank you. I was so why are we talking about clothes size right now, lady?
Yeah.
I had no idea. Because again, we never talked about psychics and mediums and this. And I didn't even know a drag queen existed. So I was just like, why are we talking about clothes size? I was so offended. Read the room. Now's not the time. And she was like, no, a psychic medium. And I was like, oh, I don't know what that is. And she's like, you can talk to dead people. And I'm like,
Oh my God, this is you and you don't even know it.
I had no idea. And it was so interesting because that's what catapulted me into, I was in cosmetology at 17. And so I went the next day and I was reading to students that I just started this cosmetology journey with. And then I was reading the teachers and blah, blah, blah. And then just word of mouth started happening. And then I was like, I don't know what I'm going through, because again, the spiritual healer, I was the first ever medium that she worked with. She knew of them. She had friends that were, but she didn't know how to navigate my gifts. So I bought Lisa Williams' I Speak to Dead People, Can You? And that was an 8-week mediumship journey in a book, because it's all I could afford, at 17. And it changed my life. I was doing practice readings out of my apartment, and next thing you know, I'm on stage with Lisa Williams 10, 11 years later.
How did that feel?
Oh my gosh, I just got the pictures back the other day and it was a blur. I'm like, that's me. But it was very interesting because I remember her telling me back in the day that she would not share a stage with me. And I was like, why? And she goes, honey, you are the show. Look at you. And then
True.
for me, she was like, I would be intimidated. I was like, are you joking? And she was like, no, I'm being serious. Like, own the stage, own your energy, step into it. And I was like, huh, okay. And it wasn't until later on that she was like, we had like a scheduling thing. James was supposed to do the show. Something came up. His brother passed away. So she stepped in. And I was like, this is not that I don't love James. Clearly I love James. But I was like, this is like my Beyonce.
Yeah.
And I flat out told her, I was like, I'm not going after you. I'm going before you because I cannot follow you. And she was like, I cannot follow you. And so it was just this funny, like, who's going to go where? But that was such an amazing, not only healing thing for the audience, but the most healing thing for the inner 17-year-old that sat at his kitchen table in the apartment where we were eating, you know, Dollar Tree food because we didn't have money and I wasn't charging for sessions and I was still going to school and my partner was trying to provide for the both of us and we didn't know, you know, how to be adults yet. I was still 7, like I was still a baby. And
Wow.
fast forward to being on stage with her, it was such an incredible moment. And like, I'm like, I can retire now. Like, I don't even care.
I hit the pinnacle. I want to know who went on first.
So I went on first. I won that fight. I was like, I'm going first. Like, my hometown, I go first. No, she really was like, whatever you want, sweetie. Like, let's just do it. And ironically, spirit works in such an amazing way. And I was going first, and then we both came out, introduced each other, blah, blah, blah. And then she went off stage. I read, you know, the first half. Then we had to do an intermission because of venue that's like contractually required. And when we hit intermission, Spirit literally was like, because what we're supposed to happen is I was going to read, we would do intermission. She was going to come out and then do her reading. And then we were going to do Q&A together. And that was it. But Spirit, when I was done with my section, I guess, my half, my portion, I went to the back room and I looked at her and I said, we're not going to do Q&A. I have to come out and we have to do double linking. And she was like, okay, whatever you want. You got it. And I was like, weird. And then her friend that was there backstage with her, she was like, you knew that was going to happen because like Lisa called it apparently backstage. Mind you, this girl is a beast in the most positive, loving way. Lisa, she comes in, she does her, I cannot sing, but she does the, like to clear that energy. So like she was like in that. But what was amazing to watch was she was like, because in the back green room, there's a TV and she unplug it. I don't want to watch it. I want everything to be authentic. And I was like, that's so genius. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
And she's like, I want it to be so authentic. So she unplugged the TV. She broke it a little bit. I'm not going to lie. We had to turn it back on. But yeah, she unplugged the TV because that's how authentic and genuine she is when it comes to the work with Spirit. And then she went out after intermission. She did her readings. I wanted to watch it. So I was like, plug this shit back in. I was like, plug it in. I want to see her work. Are you kidding me? So they plugged it in. I'm watching just in awe. That's when I started taking it in. Like, oh my gosh, Lisa Williams here. And then I went back out. And what was so interesting was the message that we double linked on. There was 2 of them. Those 2 were the most profound, heavy, emotionally needed readings of the night. It was a lady who lost her sister. And what was interesting is right when I was getting Mike to go back out with Lisa, I could feel her sister step forward, grab my hand and go, let's do this.
Really?
And I walked out on stage holding her sister's hand. And right when I went back out, I was like, oh, thanks, for having me come out. And I go, and Lisa's like, do you want to go first? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. I have a sister here and blah, blah, blah. And it was the most amazing, profound reading for me personally of the evening. And come to find out, mind you, when you're on stage, you can't see anything. You have a spotlight on you. Everyone is just outlines. And come to find out, I just got this new barber, right? And I invited her. We gifted her tickets. It is what it is. she was supposed to be in the front row, but apparently something happened and she ended up going to the back row
Oh, goodness.
during like intermission or whatever. And the sister that walked out on stage with me in spirit goes, my sister's in the back. And I said, I feel like I'm being drawn back here. Come to find out, it was the barber that we gifted tickets to.
Oh,
And
wow.
ironically, she just told, because my partner goes to her, she just told my partner that it was her sister's anniversary of her departure and blah, blah, blah. And it has been so hard the previous years, but this is the first year since that moment at the show that Lisa and I double linked on, that she's been able to actually feel her sister be okay.
Oh, that's nice.
It
So
was
comforting. So
so it's
comforting.
crazy how spirit like pops in, and not only again it was such an incredible moment for
Mm-hmm.
the audience, but also
Mm-hmm.
for me, and how it was amazing.
And how it's all orchestrated too. Oh,
Yeah,
it's perfect.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. You know, you kind of went from 0 to 60.
Uh,
I mean, really, there was like no in between.
sorry.
Once you discovered all these your gifts and everything else.
Yeah, so I'm 28, and so I have been doing it for 11 years now, and
Hmm.
so it really is 0 to 60. Like they always say like you have free will, and what's so interesting is I actually chose cosmetology, and I was like, I can't be a medium. I literally was like, I'm not going to be a medium. I can't do that.
Hmm.
And my biggest thing was my goal in life is to have a kid. Like that is my number one goal.
Hmm.
I don't care about anything and everything else. I get asked this all the time. I get asked this by producers. I get asked this during interviews.
Hmm.
What's your business goal? And I was like, enough to have everything set up so I can have a kid. And people are always like, kids mess that up. But I'm like, oh no, I know. But I still want that baby.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
being gay, adoption and surrogacy is expensive. So I thought like, I can't be a medium and make $20. Like I can't make a career out of that.
Oh, yes,
So
you can.
yes, you can. And so I actually chose cosmetology. And then what's funny is I got sick.
Oh.
I got sick and I was falling behind in cosmetology. Like I like couldn't eat, I couldn't anything, and like I was going back to the doctors, and again they're like, "Oh, you have like some type of flu or something."
Hmm.
And I got the phone call from cosmetology going, "Unfortunately, if you don't show up tomorrow, we're gonna have to withdraw you." And I said, "You know what? Screw it. I'll get a different job and figure out mediumship." And the moment I accepted looking more into mediumship, I went and ate the biggest burger. I
Yep.
was able to eat. And I was like, Spirit says you have free will. Apparently, Daniel didn't. But no. And so, what's amazing
That's
is that I
cool.
embraced that and that I dove into it. And just the other day, Spirit, always reminds you and humbles you. I had a client and she lost her daughter. And, getting hugs at the end of readings, that's pretty normal.
Yep.
However, I've never been embraced like this. People have hugged me and they've, always embraced me. But this woman not only hugged me, she grabbed me by my shoulders. This was the other day. And put me in front of her and then put her hand on my cheek and was like rubbing my cheek while crying. And she goes, you don't understand what you just gave me here today. I've been holding on to this for the past 15 years.
Oh my word.
And she
Oh
goes,
gosh.
I will forever love you and you will always be in my heart. And she walked out. She left, I sobbed, and then I sat in my office chair, my reading chair, and I just thought about it. I go, I was 13 when her daughter passed away.
Oh
I
my.
could be in cosmetology, I could be a makeup artist, I could be back on the family farm. I could have not been in this moment in time. And she
For
came to
her.
me from word of mouth
Hmm.
for her to get such relief and healing. It's just, again crazy how spirit works.
That's so much more rewarding, no offense, than cosmetology
Absolutely.
either. Yeah. The way you're touching people's lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, just on a side note, are your parents still living?
My parents are still living, they're still together. They've never been to any of my live shows. I know they haven't. We've always invited them. because of religious beliefs and
Yeah.
things like that. However, my mother loves to take credit for her son being Daniel Monroe and the things I have accomplished. So that's actually why I changed my last name, because my last name really isn't Monroe, and I'm not going to say it publicly of what my true last name is. However, it's because like my soul knew that I wasn't that scared little boy anymore, and I
Oh,
get to fully embrace me. And also, I didn't want, like, my heart and soul knew I was going to be changing people's lives, and I
right.
didn't want people to quickly, some people have pieced it together and that's fine, but quickly piece it together and then them go and talk to my parents or my family and then
Well,
like badmouth it.
that's good. That's good. You protected them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yourself too at the same time.
So yeah, it's
But
very
your
interesting.
mom's proud of you.
And all of that, in her weird way, she's very, very proud. So I always have to take a step back and be like, she does love you. She is proud of you. And everyone says that. Whoever like does talk to my mom, they're like, yeah, it's mixed in all of the other stuff she
Mhm.
says, but she is proud.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh gosh, Daniel. Um, so before you do a reading, how do you prepare yourself? Because people have all sorts of different things they do, and some people just sit down and do it. So
Okay. You want to know my actual secret?
only if you want to share
The
it.
true secret. Karen, I'll tell you because I love you. I listened to Adele's "Hello" on replay.
Really?
Absolutely.
I
So
love that.
right before, so if I'm like coming into the
Stop.
office and
Stop it.
I'll turn it on, it's like a good meditation type thing. Um, and then obviously you come in, you sage, you light your, candle of intention. You open up your heart space, you do all of the meditation stuff. But my key component, especially for live shows, is the moment my team starts hearing Adele play. I listen to like Adele's music like all day long.
Hmm.
But then when it's closer to showtime or when I'm coming into the office, I put Hello on. And the reason why I put it on and why my shows are called Hello from Heaven was actually an homage to the song Hello.
Oh.
Yeah. And one, Adele wrote it for hello to her fans, and also hello from the other side was her losing her grandfather, I believe. And also the drums are her playing the drums, which is very wild,
I
I
didn't
think.
know that.
Yeah, she's a multifaceted queen. Not that she told me this, but I've just, saw in interviews. Not that her and I wish. However, the piano start, the beat to it, but the words in there, um, hello from the other side, hello, it's me. I've been wondering if after all these years you'd like to meet to go over
Hmm.
everything that you've said, things like that. It really spoke to me when it first came out of, you know, being able to reconcile and make amends with people.
Hmm.
And again, I'm half related, youngest of seven. A lot of us don't talk to one another. And so whenever that song comes on, the beat comes on, my soul goes into feeling that reconcile, that having that one more chat, that one more talk,
Yeah.
the things that I wish that I am able to have with my siblings who are still living. I want to be able to give that to the people that come to a reading or come to a show. I want to be able to give them that hello, that last conversation, that one more chance to be able to make amends and to chit chat and talk and apologize or have that moment of healing. So that's literally my true formula, is getting into that space and getting into that energy.
Well, and music will do it too.
Yeah,
And the song that you chose is just perfect, actually.
yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about the shows that you do. Where are those held?
Everywhere, all throughout the Pacific Northwest. So
Oh,
right
really?
before COVID, we were about to do like Canada and go into there, but online, obviously, virtually, Hello from Heaven. But right here in my office, we do intimate Hello from Heaven every so often. So I can hold 22 guests in my office in my academy here in downtown Portland. So we do that every so often, because when I do live shows, the bigger Hello from Heavens, they're anywhere from 80 people to 270.
Okay.
So they're really large auditoriums. So we do intimate Hello from Heaven, where some people, only want to come here, and not have a big group. That's fine. So we'll do that. And then Portland, Oregon, Vancouver, Washington. I used to do Pasta Gigi's in Battleground, Washington, at an Italian restaurant.
Mm.
M&R Cellars, a winery. I team up with
Hmm.
different businesses and such. And right now, we're actually waiting for dates from a couple of other places because clients have been coming to me going, I remember seeing you at Pasta Gigi's back in the day, blah, blah, blah.
Hmm.
And that was so iconic, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I love to be iconic, so why not do it again? But no, what it truly is you get to come in, have food, have a glass of wine, have a soda, have tea, eat some food, and have it be a true intimate setting. And I remember
That's
doing
nice.
it's beautiful, and the food was so yummy.
Hmm.
And I remember when you're eating and sharing a meal with
Hmm.
other people,
Hmm.
there's something so beautiful. You're not on your phone, you're chit chatting, you're talking, you're coming together. Again, auditorium's a little different. People are going, to the concession stand and getting beer and wine and this and that, and then coming back, and their focus is just on the stadium or the stage. And when you're sitting there, you truly connect with one another. And I remember reading somebody, and this other gal that was at her table too was holding her hand while I was reading her. And at the end of the show, or the demonstration, the live event, whatever you want to call it, uh, those two came up to me. And the older gal that I was reading, she said, "Thank you so much. I've been holding on to this for years." She gave me a hug. And I turned to her friend and I go, "Thank you so much for being here with her, being here with your friend." And she goes, "I just met her."
Oh,
And I was like, "Oh my." And she goes, "Yeah, we got seated together and I just felt compelled to
wow.
hold her hand and to love on her. They're like best friends to this day."
Wow.
And so when people are like, "Oh my gosh, I remember Pasta Gigi's, or I remember M&R Cellars, or I
Hmm.
remember the yoga seat, or blah, blah, blah," uh, I'm like, I want to have that environment. Because it's true. When you're sitting down eating,
Yeah, it
it's a more,
changes it.
it changes it. Like
Hmm.
you're sharing not only an event, but you're sharing a meal with somebody.
Right. A really nice connection, and it's more intimate too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I got to hit one of your events. I seriously do.
So we're waiting because we're bringing it back. There's a couple of venues here in Portland. Literally, where she's all on board. She's just getting manager approval, and that's the interesting thing about being a medium and trying to do it so publicly is it's still not fully accepted or embraced.
Hmm.
So that's the other goal that I have, like in business, is for other mediums, and that's why I pushed for Best of Clark County. Like I lived in Clark County and grew up in Clark County. Like I even played on a baseball team named Clark County Little League, and ironically, they wouldn't allow mediums or like not even spiritual stores. Like they wouldn't allow spiritual stores or spiritual metaphysical shops to be able to be a part of that community. And again, it's a community based voting situation. And I have been featured in the news article that houses Best of Clark County. So I'm like, I'm good enough for you guys to do an article on, but I'm not good enough to run for Best of Clark County. So
Crazy.
that's the one award situation. But anywho, so in Ridgefield, there's another shop or another restaurant that's interested in doing it. So I they're so much fun. I love it.
So, do we find out that on your website or?
Yeah, as soon as we get dates and stuff, we'll have it on the website at mediumdannymonroe.com under the events page. You can subscribe to the email blast, but that is something that is so like, yeah, again, I've been on stage and, been interviewed on TV, and but honest to God, I love it just being able to be intimate at a restaurant.
Well, I will tell you, you don't know this, Daniel, but I would see your events but it was recently after my husband passed, and I wanted to go to your events, but I didn't have the strength to go.
Aw.
I just didn't have the strength. Grief just messes with you really badly. But now I can do that, so I can get to your shows. I think that'd be wonderful to see.
I would love it. Yeah, there's a shop, or say a shop, because I love teaming up with like mom and pop shops and mom and pop businesses, because that's how we grew up. Was always, our parents ran their own
Yep.
businesses and such. And but yeah, one is called Mama Mia's, so fingers crossed. That's right here in downtown Portland, and the other one is in Ridgefield. So, like I said, as soon as we have dates, and ironically, doing large events is actually how I started. A
That's
metaphysical
crazy.
shop. Yeah, at 17, a metaphysical shop found out about me.
Uh-huh.
They were in Battleground, and the owner was like, "Well, before you do like anything with the public and blah 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 here at this place, you have to read me." And I was like, "Oh no!" Like,
Yeah, talk about pressure.
yeah, and he was like, "Here's the date and time. Come here, and you'll come here and read me." And I'm like, "Oh no!" So I did, and mind you, I was just 17, just found out I could talk to dead people like a month, maybe 2 months before this. So little old me was like, let's give it a go. And I was so stressed out, but I'm like sitting here, and his dad popped in, and his dad was talking about this, and this man is like not even blinking. He's just like,
Oh.
mm-hmm. And
No.
then does this to me. Stop. I was
Uh-oh.
like, okay, so sorry. Did I mess up? Like, am I not ready? And he goes, you've already brought up every single thing I told my dad to bring up.
Oh, really? Good.
I
Good.
was like, oh my goodness. So then he was like, that this was more than enough. Thank you.
Could you breathe after that?
Because then I was like,
I
I
mean,
was
my
like, what's next?
gosh.
What's happening? Because he was very monotone, very monotone. And again, I think he stop. He's like, just stop. And I was like, oh no. But then a month after that, he put
Stop
together the
it.
gallery event. There was a group of people that came, and I got put in front of like 30 people. So that's how I started. Before private readings, before anything, I started by
Wow,
doing.
you're in front of people. That's how you began
That's how I started
at 17.
at 17. It was wild.
Jeez.
So I love doing gallery events and having that moment.
Well, it's second nature for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, 11 years of doing them now.
Yeah.
Gosh. Yeah. I don't know why my dogs are so psycho. I keep telling my husband, go make them be quiet. Puppy, stop. They're usually very quiet whenever I do my
You're
interviews.
very,
So
yeah.
maybe it's your energy. I don't know.
Well, my computer did go out, so it could be my energy.
Gosh, little stinkers. Okay, now you have classes. Tell about those.
So I have Daniel Monroe Development Academy, and the number one thing that I wanted to create, I didn't want to call it Daniel Monroe Psychic Academy or Mediumship Development, because I want people to be able to grow and be able to develop in all areas of their life. I don't like boxes. Clearly, I'm a man in makeup, so I didn't want to put even students in boxes where it's like,
Good.
well, it's only mediumship or it's only psychic. So I teach anywhere from healing to releasing trauma, dealing with grief, to mediumship classes, to psychic classes. Truly, when I am like, oh, I'm done teaching, spirits like, you're going to teach this class next. The next thing you know, I'm launching another energy healing or spiritual development circle
Mhm.
or some other fun thing that spirits like, do this next. So I wanted students to be able to know that everyone has this gift. Some of us are just better listeners, and that's where I come in to help you listen. So it just really depends on what it is that gets your soul excited. And I'm not one, again, that likes boxes, that likes restrictions. So I always tell my students, what does it
Mhm.
feel like for you? What gets your soul excited? Is it psychic
Mhm.
stuff? Is it mediumship? Is it healing stuff? Or are you simply on a journey of healing yourself? And that's why the other reason is I also wanted them to know that they're not broken. They're not
Yeah.
weird.
Mhm.
and they're not a
Mm-hmm.
freak, because I was going through such weirdness, if you will, of passing out and not feeling like I can talk to my
Yeah.
parents, and didn't have a safe space to talk about people popping in the middle of the night, or the lights always flickering around me. And um, so that's why I didn't want to teach. I truly didn't. I was like, nobody wants to learn from me. I'm so young. And I started teaching at like 18, 19. And I just loved having that aha moment and watching that in other people, going, oh, I have so and so coming forward. Can you understand that? And then the other student being like, oh my God, yeah. And the person's like, shut up. No way. No, you're lying. That's not true. Like, I love watching those moments of other people spark and ignite. And what it truly is their soul turning on the switch and being able to remember their purpose and remember what they're here to do. It's the most rewarding thing.
And so many people are searching for that.
Yeah.
What's my purpose? Why am I here? Type
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Or what's wild is like, oh, I can't do that. I'm like, yeah, you have a soul, right? Everyone is energy. You have a soul. You
Mm-hmm.
have the mechanics for it. You just got to simply listen. Now, will you like it? Will you want to go out on stage like Daniel Monroe? Probably not. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Mm-hmm.
However, you might love it, and you might be on stage with me or Lisa or James or
Mm-hmm.
whomever. And it's like, again, but what does your soul want?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people just want to have it so they have that spiritual connection too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what would you recommend for someone who's like, oh gosh, I think should I check this out? What do you suggest for them?
Never second guess, right? So if you're already interested, if you're already like, should I do it? Go for it. You
Okay.
simply click that link, click that website. But the thing is, at the end of the day, I can't want it for you. I can't tell you what to do. I can only best help guide you, because you know you best. But
Mm-hmm.
I can only encourage you to listen. I can only encourage you to embrace, because again, your soul is never wrong. It's our mind that gets in the
Right.
way.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So it's very interesting, because it takes somebody a full 30 seconds to even form a question, right? To even get the courage to form a question, to
Mm-hmm.
raise their hand, things like that. Imagine if that all of that takes that much time, energy, and effort just to even ask a question. Can
Mm-hmm.
you imagine what it takes for somebody to want something, to feel something, about to jump and do it, but
Yeah.
then pull themselves back?
Mm-hmm.
So let's cut out all the garbage, if you will, and just embrace that initial reaction.
Mm-hmm. It's great advice. Really, really good advice. And I'm glad that you mentioned that everybody does have this gift too.
Yeah,
Yeah, we do. Because they'll say, gosh, I wish I could do what you do or whatever, but you can.
right.
You just have to open that door and then you got to start taking steps to
Yeah.
figure out how to. But I think it kind of sounds like your illness is what was a catalyst for you.
Yeah, it truly, how do I say this? It was my body rejecting my gifts, and also the
Yeah.
energy and environment that I was in. So there were so many different things. It was the again, the home life that I was in,
Mm-hmm.
the bullying happening at school, and this delicate flower. I used to be called a wallflower by every single teacher. I didn't talk,
Mm-hmm.
did not talk. And so there was all this energy happening that was starting to create, I'm sure, anxiety, but on such a more heightened level, being gifted, having the mediumship, having the impact, that it truly was, it was nerve wracking. I'm not going to lie. But what was so amazing, and even looking back, not to pat myself on my own shoulder, was I listened to my soul that there was something more.
Because no offense, you were in a little farming community, and
Yeah.
I know I taught in a little farming community, so I kind of know the flavor that you were going through,
Yeah.
and then you're getting ill because of other things. And at such a young age, it was like they were going to shake you up until you
Yeah.
listened to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, going back to don't second guess it, embrace who you are. Because here's the number one tip that I teach my students: once you connect with your soul is a telephone to the other side. That's all it takes. So when I started honoring me, that's when my gifts started coming in more and
Oh.
more. I didn't have to go out and search for it. I didn't start developing with, Lisa and James and stuff till way later on in life.
Mm-hmm.
I started connecting with spirit, connecting with my soul, playing with makeup, playing with heels, playing with what
Mm-hmm.
my soul wanted, what my soul got excited about. And that's when everything else started to just simply flow. So always embrace who you are and trusting your gut. And I, again,
Mm-hmm.
give so much credit to younger me of not accepting the doctors just going, oh, it's just anxiety.
Mm-hmm. 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 It takes a lot of courage to do that too.
Yeah.
It does. Kudos to you.
Thank you.
Daniel, is there anything else that you would like to mention? Because we're going to be wrapping it up here.
No, I always just tell people to remember to love yourself and to be yourself and don't let anybody else tell you different because you wouldn't be you and you wouldn't be here watching this, clicking a link, sending love, sending happiness if you weren't you.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Okay. Well, I want to thank you for coming on, and I'm really glad you did. And I am really happy I met you too.
Me too. I love it.
Yeah, I've known about you and followed you, but now I really know. Well, I don't really know, but I know
Yeah.
better. Yeah.
And hopefully now I'll see you at one of the events.
Oh, I'm going to be there. I'm going to check out your calendar. Yeah.
I love it.
All right, Daniel. Thank you, and an honor and a pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.